Okay, welcome to, I guess this is the third part in the installation instructions for HASS tools. Again, this is going to be using Windows, but at this point, or for this step, it should be the same for Mac OS or Chrome OS or Linux or what have you. Anything that you can install Git and GitKraken on, you should be good to go to run these steps. So to get started from a blank workspace, I will just open up GitKraken, and once that has started up, which takes a moment, we will remind ourselves that we did create our account, which is the same as our GitHub account, and that you have this integration working. That should give you a check mark. So that should tell you you are good to go on this step. And so for the next thing, we want to create a new workspace. So click that new workspace, and we'll just call it HASS Tools. You don't have to do anything too fancy here. And just give the form a little fill. S1/51. I'll be a little bit more formal here. And then this is going to be personal because that is who we all are acting on our own behalf. And so then it will ask us to add repositories, and you can select a repository location, which it will be filled by this drop-down box. Select github.com because you're already synced up that way. And now what you will see is slightly different than me. I have some other previous things in here, but what you should see, provided I've added you to the course, you should see HASS Tools Fall 2022. You can add the course materials, you can add the forecasting, and you can add the homework. And once you've done that, you can click that little drop-down thing again to hide it, and you'll see there's our 3 repositories that we'll be using for this class. And so the course materials is self-explained. It's where all the slides will go. It's where I will have a README with links to all of these videos. It will have the syllabus and any sorts of notes and things like that. The forecasting repository is where you will submit your Verde River streamflow forecasts, and also provides a set of like starter codes and helper codes for evaluating those, which is another thing that you'll be doing throughout the semester. You'll be evaluating other students' streamflow forecasts. And then finally, homework is where you will submit your assignments. So those are your 3 base repositories. Just go ahead, create workspace, and boom, you can see that you have all of these sort of listed, and the next step is going to be to clone them. Now, Git has strange language, but you can think of cloning as 2 things. It's downloading the Git repository, which includes not just the current state, like the most updated files in that repository, but also the history of all of the files that has ever happened. So it contains all of the information about things that have changed. And then finally, the thing that it also contains is information about how to talk to GitHub, which is where we kind of consider the central repository. So what you have on your computers is going to be sort of how you make changes to the central repository, which we all track through GitHub. And so I will have an explanation of all of this like how Git actually works and what it means to have different sort of modes of tracking, like the origin or remote tracking, and then your local tracking, which is on your computer. But you can just select all with this with this big check mark and get the 3 out of 3 and just clone all. And now you have to decide where you want to put this. And so you're going to click browse, and this is entirely up to you, but I have all of this stuff. So I'm just going to go in and create a new folder. Let's see, let's do has tools and select that. And then you are good to clone. So now all of my, oh no, I have some failures. Let's see exactly what happened there. Oh, I think it actually was fine. If you open up your file browser and go to then has tools, I see forecasting 2022 and homework. And now these look like they have what I want. So something has gone wrong with, oops. And we'll talk about how this works in a moment. Tools. So, oh, there are 2 homeworks now and course materials. Well, let's go ahead and clone that. Something went wrong previously. Interesting. Okay, I'm not quite sure what happened there. So maybe it would be better if you in your in your workspace, clone them each separately. But it seems that everything is fine because if I go into my file browser and documents, has tools, and you know what? I'm just gonna add this as a bookmark. Wherever we can. There we go. Pin it to quick access. So now I have all 3 of the repositories in. So you can go in, for instance, course materials, go under admin, and you will see you can open up, for instance, the syllabus, which has, you know, all the information that we've already gone over, but you now have it on your local computer, and that will also contain things like the slides. So here we go. Here are the first 2 lectures, which I presented in class, or at least most of them. And so this is good to go. We are hooked up between GitKraken and GitHub. And now you actually have the course materials on your computer. And then going from here, whenever we do updates, what you can do is you can select a repository and go to this fetch button. And what this will do is basically give you all of the updated material. So anything that I put on GitHub will then be pulled down to you. For the case of the forecasting repository, all of you will be submitting forecasts, and you'll be able to fetch that. And basically what that will do is integrate everyone's changes from across the class into what you have. So in doing this, you'll be able to look at everyone else's forecasts that they've made up to the point that is currently existing on the GitHub repo. So this is how you'll actually do your forecasting sort of evaluation. So when you have to look at other people's stuff, this is how you'll do it. You'll pull it in, you'll see all their changes, you'll run some code to do evaluation, and then you'll make some judgments. And finally, you'll write out who you think has done a good job and deserves some extra points for that round. and then you'll push that back up. And when we all fetch it next time, we will see what your evaluation is. Similarly, for homework, every time you pull or fetch the data, you will see what other people have done for their homeworks. And so this is where it's really important to talk about this collaborative aspect. And as I said in the sort of intro to this class, I really do expect you to be collaborating on codes. But, you know, given this sort of setup, there might be a temptation to just copy and paste things. So this is where I really do want you to be able to explain what codes do, even if you have pulled them in from other people. It's up to you to make sure you understand what they do and make sure you can describe that back to me. And so with this, you have all of the information, and you can open any of these up and look at them through the file browser. There's also this view here where when you open it up, you know, if you look at homework, there's not much there right now. You'll get just this sort of one line in the main thing, and it'll say that I did something and I initial commit, which was just me adding some stuff. But if you look at, for instance, the course materials, you'll see a list of stuff. And this was me adding things throughout the sort of development of the course. And so on August 20th, I added the syllabus and some basic assets, which includes this little icon for the course. And then you can see what I'm doing every time. So the first stay notes, my minor slide updates, which was just changing some things around, and then update slide and syllabus was me adding the office hours. So all of these messages are things that I wrote to update changes in Git. And I will be showing you how to actually make these changes and record them. And what you can see here is all of these are my icon. So all of you will have different icons that that will kind of show up here and be able to give you a high-level overview of who's doing what in these repos. Okay, I want to close it out here so that next round we can install VS Code and finally sync VS Code to GitKraken. That way you will get your all of these course materials into the thing that we're actually going to run code on. Okay, see you there.